Hello everybody, Brad the Guitarologist here. I've got a couple of guitar related videos in the works that are stalled for one reason or another, so I thought today we might take a look at this thing that I got a little while back at an antique mall for 10 bucks. This is a 1973 RCA AR059Y. This thing was made in Taiwan. It has a really cool flip clock, which is the main reason I bought this. The TV is going to be fairly irrelevant to me, but you know, I mean, I'm sure there are some people out there who would hook this up to their gaming system or something and use the hell out of it. I'm probably not that guy. The main reason I got this is because it is an alarm clock radio on this side. I do not have an alarm clock and have been using my cell phone like probably most of you guys do nowadays. The problem with cell phones is if you forgot to charge your battery or something like that, you know, you might not wake up in time. So it'd be nice to have an actual alarm clock for a change. This thing is a flip clock. I plugged it in when I got it a while back and the flip clock did not work. So we're going to test that out. We will test out the AM/FM radio. We'll see what kind of state the TV's in just for giggles. And if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, stick around. Before we go any further, let's just take a look around this thing. As you can see, it's very space age Jetsens kind of design. Of course, this was 1973. The Jetsens had been on TV and in syndication for probably about a decade at that point. 2001 Space Odyssey had just come out. Man had just landed on the moon not too long ago, and they were still landing on the moon, I believe, in 1973. And this looks like something that itself would land on the moon and then take off and carry people and things and cargo. This was made in Taiwan. The television side has a contrast, vertical hold, and horizontal hold controls. We have VHF and UHF antennas. I have some more information here on the bottom. This TV complies with Department Health, Education, Welfare, X radiation rules. Well, I guess that's good to know. You still shouldn't sit too close to the TV, kids. If you have an old TV, it'll fry your brain. And it'll also screw up your eyes. Right? I'm sure everybody's mom told them that. Mine did. You'll mess your eyes up if you sit too close to the TV. So that's the bottom of the unit. A couple controls on the side here for changing the television stations. So yeah, let's plug it in. Okay, we have this thing plugged in, and to turn it on, you just flip this up to the on position. It does have an antenna, which is thankfully not broken. And let's see what we can get in. Right now we're on AM, and we're in my basement, so I don't know how good the reception will be.
Winning the division. Correct. There was a time when the Red Sox division, there was a distinct disadvantage.
Another day, Houston.
Do you believe Dave Roberts when he says, I don't know Clayton Kershaw's postseason numbers? Like he's got a 4.55 ERA.
Exactly. Kelly can help you hire employees for call center, office clerical, professional, technical, manufacturing.
A woman submits and as a man leads. But before we go on, let's talk about what this does not mean. It does not mean that a man calls all the shots in marriage relationship.
There's your patriarchy, ladies. Submit.
Having my teeth cleaned.
Submit to my will. That was a joke, by the way.
With Crosby Law Offices. I've been practicing real estate law, fixing problems, and helping people for over 22 years. So if you're a buyer...
It tunes in, I guess, about as well as most AM radios tune in my basement. Maybe a little bit worse. I'm not real impressed with the tuning on the AM. Let's check out the FM. Sounds like the sound is coming out of this little tiny area down here. So I think that's the speaker right there. I'm not real impressed by the sound, but it's, you know, it's passable, I guess.
To get the benefit of FDA-approved LASIK technology that gives the majority of patients 20/20 vision for a fraction of what others charge. Text to schedule your free evaluation to see if LASIK is right for you. Don't miss out.
Oh yeah. Uh-oh. You gotta love that. I like that little drummer right there. That's high drama. Wonder if the AFC works. Yeah, it seems to be. Let's try tuning in that without AFC. Yeah, definitely easier with the AFC to tune in stations.
Right here on ESPN Radio for the Astros and the Red Sox. Boston Red Sox manager John Farrell.
Nothing my money will buy. It couldn't be I.
Classical music just isn't what it used to be.
American calendar, flood the calendar.
Okay, yeah, so that's the FM. Let's check out the TV and see what happens. Now we got something there. And then that something went away. It looks fairly bright on the camera, but it doesn't look all that bright in person. Yeah, see, something's definitely not right. Probably some loose connections in there somewhere for the TV. While we're inside this thing, inspecting what's going on with the clock, we may inspect some of the connections on everything else too, clean everything, and all that good mess. Also, this is just very frosty looking. I don't know if that's dirt. I'm sure it is dirt on the inside of that, but it's very dirty if that's the case. But we'll see if we can polish up the plastic bits here as well. All right, let's get the screws out of this thing and get it open. There's actually a missing screw here. It looks like, I can see up in there, it looks like the plastic's broken. This one's really loose already. Like the plastic or whatever might be broken there too. We'll have to see if we can do something about that. Yeah, there we go. AM ferrite antenna. Well, that's interesting. We got a switch here that's mounted, and this, when you switch this thing, it manually switches this switch with a little bracket. It's interesting. Now my guess is on this flip clock, here's the flip clock mechanism. My guess is there's probably a broken broken cog. I suppose it could also be that motor that's at fault. Okay, so all those cogs will work. I really do have to wonder if that motor right there might not be at fault. Let's go ahead and pull this rest of the way out. Okay, what does this say? For continued something, hang on. For continued X radiation protection, replace picture 2 with original type. Got a repeated model number and serial number inside. More X radiation warnings over here on this side. I'll be damn. Here's the little CRT. And I'm just kind of wondering if there's maybe a bad pin or something. I'm guessing that's a socket. Yeah, that's got to be a socket. Is this thing... That's definitely a socket. I'm wondering if I can maybe clean that socket right there and have this thing just magically work. I wonder if that would be a... thing that could happen here, because that would be ideal. I really don't want to... Because it seemed to me like when I was banging on that, like it was just a bad connection, and that's definitely something that could make a bad connection. So I'll tell you what, we'll just spray that socket out a little bit with some contact cleaner here. You can actually see the pins from the back. And maybe I'll go ahead and spray these controls too. Okay, maybe that'll do some good there. I don't know. I really didn't, like I said, I really didn't buy this for the television either way, so I don't think I'm going to bother servicing the television. I really don't have equipment to service televisions anyway. I don't have a CRT tester and all that. I don't think it's the CRT, because it seemed like Seemed like when I tapped on the thing, it did come to life. So anyway, I'm sure it could work with some attention. It could be capacitor related too, I suppose. So thinking it might be this motor after all. There's a cog on the motor right there. So that turns this. Maybe the motor's just frozen. Let's dismount this thing and see if we can clean it or something and make it work. All right, I guess before we do anything else, we'll take this front off. In order to remove that, all you got to do is remove all of the knobs, and then the plastic thing just comes right out. And wow, look at that. The difference. Yeah, see, this thing is, look at that. This should really look nice when we get this cleaned up. Let's clean this thing off. Okay, so I cleaned that in the sink, and that came hell of a lot cleaner. There's still a few scuffs here that I might be able to polish out, and I may try that in a little bit with some buffing compound. But even if it doesn't come out, that's a lot better than, well, I got it upside down. That's a lot better than it was. Before I put that back on though, there's some dirt and grime and stuff down here on this front edge of this thing. I'd like to try to see if we can get off of there. Some things I'm noticing about this on the television side over here. I've cleaned the pins on this CRT as best I could and wiggled them around. I don't think that's the problem. I did notice that all of these boards, these little secondary boards, every one of these is socketed. So they all actually pull out. So this one pulls out, that little board pulls out, this big board right here, the whole thing, you see it wobbling there, that whole thing will pull out. There's another board back here. Every one of these has a socket that needs to be cleaned. This socket actually, if we zoom in on this one, is actually broken. This whole socket has a crack. You know, if you can see it underneath the pins there. See this whole back side of this socket moves around. So this board obviously can get a faulty connection, so we'll have to do something about that. I'm kind of contemplating what the best course of action might be here, because these are actually stopping it from coming all the way out. I don't know if I can get super glue down in there or not. I definitely don't want to get super glue or any glue on those pins. What I might do is fire up the hot glue gun and shoot some hot glue back here on the back side of this thing, just to keep something back here so that it won't move. Also, and this is actually kind of even more alarming than that, let's see, this board is actually cracked. You see the crack right there? So yeah, it looks like there's some traces probably that are damaged as a result of that, I'm sure. And I may have to get in there and, yeah, see all that? I mean, there's just a bunch of traces broken. Yeah, you see right there. You see that crack in the board? There's a transistor that's straddling the boundary of the crack right there. May have to get the glue in here to try to stabilize that so that doesn't crack again, and then run some jumper wires, find the traces and do that. But I think that's what's actually causing the problem on the TV side. So also over here on this flip clock, there are 4 screws which hold the flip clock in. I think this nut right here might have to come out as well, and this switch come out with it all. But we're gonna take this whole assembly out because there's another nut on the bottom which I really can't reach without getting the whole mechanism out. Also, that's going to allow us to change the bulb because the bulb is right down there. You see it? It's right down in there. And it's burnt out, and that's why this thing is completely dark. Okay, finally got this this whole mechanism out. Okay, tested the motor for continuity and it's fine. And the way the motor works, it uses the 60 cycle AC line to calibrate the clock. If it knows the frequency of the wall voltage, then it can actually calibrate a clock to 60 seconds. So I'm looking squarely at that motor right there as being the culprit. I don't know if I'd be able to find a replacement for that or not. I really don't know. Okay, I went online to see if this part was available, this Copal GG-1617 motor, and when I typed in a search for that, it came up with a YouTube video of all things of a guy who fixes these successfully. And the way he said he does his is to use alcohol to soak the bottom part of the motor in alcohol and wait about 10 minutes and then take it out and oil it. And he says he's had some success with getting that to work. So we'll see how this works out. We'll leave this in about 10 minutes or so, maybe even a little bit longer. I can already see a few particles have come off. I don't know, that might actually be some paint or something. But we'll see how it goes. All right, our motor has now emerged from its alcohol bath, and I've put a little bit of key oil in here, and it's way looser. It wouldn't spin like this before. All right, all we can really do now is turn it on and try it. And there it goes. So I think that's got it licked. Okay, now we need to change this bulb. And I think this bulb is an AC bulb. I haven't looked where the wires are coming from quite yet. Yeah, it's running directly off the AC line. Okay, so what we want to do here is cut this insulation back and clip this bulb out basically and solder a new one in. Okay, here's the outer insulation stripped back on this, and we can see that right here we have a broken lead. So that might be why this bulb is not working. It's possible. It does look rather burnt, so I am going to go ahead and replace this bulb. But it's possible that bulb is still good. Let's go ahead and get rid of it though, and I'll trim back this insulation just a little bit and reattach another bulb. Okay, let's put some power to this now. Get this kind of on here precariously, so I have to be careful, but let's see if we get anything. Light bulb is on. And the clock just flipped. Alright, now what we need to do is go ahead and get our insulators on here. Okay, now let's get our larger insulator on. Okay. Alright, now we're going to turn our attention to this crack in this board and see if we can just at least repair these traces. Okay, so there's our 3 jumper repairs across that crack, and I'd be curious to see what this thing does now. I need to fire up the glue gun and glue this down so it can't move, and then we'll reinsert that board and see if the TV works. Okay. I mean, it's certainly not going to hurt anything, so. Next guy who comes in here in another 40 years is going to be like, what the hell is this? I think I've convinced myself to go ahead and stick a globule of glue or two here, up here too, just to kind of help keep this together. I'm not really expecting this to do very much, but you know, I mean, every little bit will help. Okay, this thing is all back together. It's all cleaned up. Looks really nice, actually. Let's see if the TV works a little bit better. Yeah. Not really. Let's see. Yeah, I think the socketed electronics are just kind of a poor design overall for the TV set side. I could probably get in there and make it work, but I mean, I very seriously doubt anyone's going to use the TV. If I ever do sell this thing, I actually think I'm going to keep it anyway. So